said, are you happy? Yeah.
Elbow, elbow,
Whoa!
wrist, wrist, elbow, elbow,
Whoa!
wrist, wrist.
Whoa! Welcome to Yeah, But Are You Happy? The podcast about the intersection between mental health and comedy and creativity. And I'm Lane Ingram, a therapist and a person on psychiatric medication. And
I
you
thought you were going to
are?
say a person on stage because we usually say like, and we're comedians.
Oh, yes, yes, that I meant, yes,
But
that I knew I left
I
out
was about
something.
to, I was about to judge. I was like, do not get on a stage, Lane. What are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. Um, where was I going? Oh, I was going to introduce myself. I'm Katie. I am a comedian and copywriter living with bipolar 2 disorder. Today, I worked too much. That's why we have a very vague topic. It says post Thanksgiving on the screen. What does that mean? TBD. Um, and I took a shot right before we started recording to recover. So that's where I'm
Boom.
at. Lane, how are you feeling? This is the time where we do our mental health check-in. How
I
was your Thanksgiving, first of all?
Thanksgiving was wonderful. It was maybe the best Thanksgiving we've ever had. And it was just super low key. We went over to, I'm just going to go ahead and out them. I don't think anyone cares at this point, but we went over to Mason and Ashley's. This these are people, they're just legends in the Austin comedy scene. They need no further introduction
Don't
than
hype
that.
them.
Just my, no, but no, we had a great time. It was a very small get together, not even really a get together, just a very small pod of people. And it was great. It was just very low key and fun. I got to watch my Dallas Cowboys lose, and no one cared that I was watching
Cared.
that. And yeah, it was great. I got to just kind of do my thing and drink, and it was lovely. Oh, and Chloe and I, we got a house, and so that's been crazy and exciting and scary. But here we are. Just if I were to turn the camera around, it's just all boxes, just boxes everywhere. I'm getting settled in slowly but surely, which is why I'm coming to you just from my bed, because that's the only comfortable place right now. But how are
Lane,
you? How?
can I?
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm gonna ask a question. I don't know if you know the answer. Is your bed from Wayfair? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know where
It's
Chloe
okay.
got this bed frame and this headboard. See, I look
I
like I'm in the exact same. I look like I'm exactly in the same place I always am when I come to you from the bed. But this is totally different. You got to trust me on
totally.
this. Chloe, where's our bed from? I can text her. That's what I'll do.
You don't have to know. It just looks a lot like my couch. Although I think we're not supposed to buy from Wayfair, so I won't out anyone. Besides myself, I just said
Oh,
it.
we aren't
I
supposed
have
to
a
buy
Wayfair
from
couch.
Wayfair?
I don't really know why at this point. Briefly, we weren't buying from Wayfair because they were making the beds for the detention camps.
No
I
shit. Wait,
don't.
really? The
Yeah.
detention camps?
Although
Damn.
there is a level to which it's like, well, I do want them to have, if they exist, given that they exist, I would like them to have beds.
True.
But I don't want them to exist. So political limbo there. And then I think they did something else, like not treat their employees or
Okay, it is
something.
not from Wayfair. I am being told I'm being told from our Washington DC office that our bed frame is from guilt.com, which I
Nice.
had never heard of up until this exact moment.
With a U or no U?
No you,
Mm.
GILT. Good eye, good ear.
Um. Hey, what a treat.
What a treat. But no, how I also just want to say, mental health check-in wise, I love that I always like these loose topic episodes. I feel like we get to have a lot of fun. We get a lot of crazy stuff out of our system, and these always generate more show topics
Exactly.
down the line, and we'll get back on track at
I
a
know.
later date. But
It
these are
is
always
fun.
fun.
It's great when we actually have a document full of topics. I might actually pull up our doc just in case there's like a really loose one that inspires us if we get stuck.
Yes.
Um, but I can't believe about Thanksgiving before I asked you about moving into your own home. Because I feel like that is in COVID times a way bigger. Do you feel some sense of relief not being in the same room that you were in from the past 8 months?
Dude, it has been so wonderful getting a little change of scenery. We're just so excited to. We have a little bit more space. We were, for anyone keeping score at home, Chloe and I were living in a one bedroom, one bath uh, duplex for the last 8, 9 months, and both of us working from home all day, every day.
Wait, hold on. How many beds and baths do you have now? I'm sorry. We promise not to eat you if you're rich.
No, it is a very modest sized 3 bedroom, 2 bath.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yes. And it was yeah, yeah, I would have been fine just having the main thing is an extra bathroom. That helps so much.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, we could not afford a 3 bedroom, 2 bath in anything resembling the location where we were
Yeah.
renting. So we
Yeah.
are now in Southeast Austin, which I know I used to say that South Austin was the Arlington of Austin. I regret saying that now.
You said that like a month and a half ago. It was it was recent.
It was very recent. And I said it multiple times on multiple episodes. And I've eaten my own words because now I am I'm technically in Southeast Austin, and
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
love it here. I think this is going to be big. This is the new hot zone, Katie. You want to
It
buy
really is though
now.
because they're buying Tesla. Somebody, who was it? Oh, a friend
Tesla's
of
right down
mine.
the street. I'm
A
neighbors
friend
with
of
Billy Ray Tesla.
Oh my god. I didn't know.
He's
What
a
a
good
name,
guy.
you know?
Yeah. You don't hear about him as much as you do Elon, but
But he's a big deal.
he's a real
Sorry,
big
I'm like
deal.
resizing my windows so I can see my I'm not at my monitor today. I'm in my bedroom. So the people in our chat get to see the only other room in my house.
I
And you can
still
see all
cannot
of it because that's a
I
mirror. What were you going to say?
I still cannot get us on my screen, but that's I'm sure my fault.
Oh.
But go ahead. How is your now I'm seeing stuff. How was your Thanksgiving? I want to hear about it, and the people. We want to hear about the Katie Stone Thanksgiving.
I don't know how much to reveal about. We did
Oh,
have a small 5-person Thanksgiving, one of whom had already had COVID this summer. So 4 susceptible people. But it's all I don't know, it's all recent transplants to LA. It was all our friends from ColdTowne, if anybody remembers the sketch comedy team Comedy Bazaar, them for Thanksgiving.
hmm.
And it was actually super fun. We had like potluck style food. I made a bunch of stuff. And then we had this game. Oh fuck, I don't even remember what it's called. Basically, I bought Sanjay years ago a card game because he was always like, my family always wants to play games and they don't know I'm a good actor. Sorry, he didn't phrase it that way, but he is, so I'm phrasing it that way. So I bought him this card game that's like you have characters in one deck and then you have lines to say in character in another, so it's kind of like apples of performance, and we had never played it before. um because when you buy a board game, when do you play that? Especially when you move to a new city and you don't have any friends. Um, so we played it and it was the fucking funnest because I think it was the closest to improv or sketch that any of us had come in a, I mean, we do some stuff online, but like real life with people laughing in real time. Um, and my best friend Ella, who has had COVID, so you can't judge her. Um,
Yes.
is not an actress. She does not regard herself as an actress. She is a writer. She destroyed us. She destroyed so hard. And I was so
Whoa.
pissed because I was like, apparently you can just make good choices even if you don't act them well.
Interesting.
I mean,
So Ella,
she's fine, but
but Ella is very smart, very witty, very clever.
yes,
Is that where her
I would
skills kind of came into play?
exactly. I would describe her as extremely clever, not very emotive. But she
Ah,
had so much, she made such good choices. She really overcame that. She was
oh
a
yeah.
shining star.
Maybe kind of like a poker player. She kind of keeps it inside, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. No, well, speaking of Ella, I just wanted to say, I don't know who's back there in that reductress kitchen. You, Ella, whoever is cooking up the spicy, wonderful content. It has been so on fire lately. I was telling Chloe, I was like, reductress multiple times per day is just killing me. It's so funny.
Killing it. I have not submitted in like 3 or 4 weeks because, Lane, here's the thing. Well, creating work on spec, I think a lot of people feel exhausted by, but
Sure, sure,
also sometimes it can be hard because the reason I'm great at writing headlines is it's literally what I do all day, every day.
for sure. Yeah.
Um, I just before I got on this call, I spent the last 2 hours. I think I wrote 40 headlines about frozen vegetables, and I do. I mean, you saw me take a shot right before we went live. But it's hard. It's hard to get yourself to like do a creative project after you've been creative for
Absolutely.
someone else.
Absolutely. Yeah, it would probably be more fun to do something in your spare time that is like woodworking, like not like writing at all, like the complete
That's why
opposite of writing.
I color when I watch TV.
There you go.
I made the most okay, I make planned expensive purchases recently a reasonable amount because I have my first middle class job. But I lost my Apple Pencil. I genuinely believe it disappeared into thin air, or it is now in the wood bearings of my couch. I turned my couch over and shook it, which sounds difficult, but keep in mind I just said I got it from Wayfair, which is the H&M of furniture. And so it was gone. So I bought it. I was like losing my mind not being able to draw. I dropped $99 in a day. Will
Damn.
I regret it once? Probably. I'll probably regret it soon. But I did do it and it felt kind of cool to be able to do
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. No, good for you. Just
Ooh,
to roll the dice like you're in Vegas, just bam, playing with the house's money. I bought, okay, on Cyber Monday, I bought one thing and one thing only, and that was some New Balance sneakers, which were on sale
ooh.
from the New Balance website, which may not be the shoe of choice for white nationalists. I don't
It,
know how that
did I
is a
tell you
thing.
that? Have
I
we
feel
talked
like
about this?
but you got to understand, I have middle-aged fat guy feet. I have fat guy wide feet. They're the only shoes that properly house my shitty
I think it's
flat-footedness.
okay.
And they're and so I got some new, and they're very expensive, and they were 30% off. It was a good
I think
day.
they're very fashion. If I was the one who told you that, it was true in Germany. But that's like if you go out of your way to buy American shoes that have an N on them, just because it stands for Nazi. There was
Oh,
also, yeah.
ugh.
But in America, do they have a, I don't know.
I
Is
don't know
it
what
imported?
I
Did we get it
I
from them?
I think what happened, I think right when Trump got elected, like
Ah,
right, it was like right as Trump won in 2016, someone, a top dog at New Balance, maybe tweeted that they're a Trump supporter. And then for a few weeks, everyone kind of said, let's boycott New Balance. But then I stopped hearing about it. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Oh, I can't hear you. Did we lose Katie? Can we hear Katie? I can't. Preston, can you hear Katie? Is it just me? Okay, it's apparently, if you can hear us, Katie, Preston is saying it's on your end, and we'll wait for Katie. Katie will be back shortly. I'm looking at the chat. Oh, are you there?
Are y'all down for some mediocre quality? Because I can just switch to my AirPod headphones.
Sounds good. I'm rocking mediocre quality as well.
It's funny, sometimes I'll listen to podcasts and both the hosts will have a good microphone and then they'll have on a guest who doesn't have a podcast. And it's always like, oh, they sound so bad.
Right.
I am glad we do. Jen, a friend of the pod, Jen. Oh my gosh, we have to have her back on because she's the episode we lost. The one interview episode that we lost. But
yeah.
Jen just commented, I don't think that it's a thing currently that New Balance shoes are for Nazis. So we are both, what I said was we're both just talking about things we bought that we feel like we shouldn't have bought. The theme of this episode is, oh my God, that's kind of fun. If you're in the chat, tell us the stupidest thing that you've purchased in quarantine. Not that sneakers or a sofa are stupid, but they are the thing, or an Apple Pencil I bought day of.
How is it?
My Apple Pencil?
Yes.
It's great. I've had one. It was my graduation present to myself that I bought a refurbished iPad and a refurbished Apple Pencil. I think the total for that was $260. If you're somebody who really likes coloring, it was, you break that out over the past year and compare it to how much time I spend doing it.
Awesome. Good to know. Good to know. Chloe enjoys coloring. She enjoys those like adult coloring books. No, that's that's a great question. The dumbest, I can tell you, this was a dumb purchase that I made like the day before Thanksgiving. I ordered Chloe doesn't even know about this. I ordered a Christmas ornament from a band website. This is a band that, Katie, sorry, this is old guy music, and that is the band that's called The Band. I don't know if you're familiar. The Band.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And they, I don't know how they found me, but on Instagram, I got a sponsored ad that the band is making Christmas ornaments, and I, spur of the moment, ordered one. That is probably the dumbest purchase I've made in a good while. What do we have in the chat? Do we have anything good?
We have somebody say, I forgot that I'm a gig worker and bought a Baby Yoda. And then I requested a link or photo because if it's a Baby Yoda so expensive that you regret it, I need to see it. Oh, she just texted it to me. I wonder if I can show you guys. Oh, it's so cute. I don't think I, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I can pull it up. I can pull it
go.
up. I have a solution here.
People
listening to the pod at home will never know that this is what the Baby Yoda looks like.
That's great.
It looks good. Don't return it.
Yeah, you got to keep the Baby Yoda. Yeah. No, that's great. Are you into that? Are you into? Chloe won't let me watch anything Star Wars. Do you like The Mandalorian? Are you into that?
I haven't watched The Mandalorian. I have an emotional relationship with Star Wars because my brother was obsessed with it when we were children. And so I watched it enough that I like, it was like I was in that spot of like, you know what, Stockholm Syndrome. I love this.
Yeah.
So I've seen all the movies, but I have not, especially because like I was really busy when The Mandalorian came out. And I was like, I can't justify. That made me sound really cool. That was a long time ago. It was a year ago. Remember a year ago?
You have been super busy lately, and I am just I'm happy for you. I am proud of you. You are, how is it going? How are you enjoying yourself in the old ad game?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I actually made the mental note to myself earlier today to share this in my mental health check-in, but anytime I do that, I forget. I don't know. It's interesting because like when I was living in Austin,
Oh no. Oh no. Did we lose Katie again, or is it me? Oh no, Katie, you froze up. I'm gonna vamp. Katie is frozen and she'll be joining us shortly. She was just gonna tell us about her career in advertising, but I will transition to the chat. Uh, Drew is telling us that The Mandalorian is better than the prequel and sequel trilogies. Interesting. I've heard good things about the old Mandalorian. And let's see. Anyone else popping off in the old chat? Not so much. What can I can talk more about the band. The band was a band from the late 60s through the mid 70s, and they were documented in the legendary concert film The Last Waltz, which if you haven't seen and you're a fan of the old classic rock, highly recommend. It's quite good. Let's see. Democracy is crumbling in our society, but hey, let's talk, fun stuff. There are two oh no, are there two of me? What happened? Are there two? I can't even see myself in the stream.
Hello, tis I.
Oh, Katie!
Are we still on the Twitch?
I believe so.
Is everything
And-
good? Listen, guys, this is part of why I started drinking immediately when I logged on for this podcast, because my computer from like 12 to 12:30 today just fully shut down. And it was a really stressful day at work, so that was like 30 minutes I really needed.
Damn.
And then just now, I don't know what's going on. It's been doing this lately, and it's not. I guess it's not a new computer by Apple standards, but it's a 2018 that I paid for upgrades on, and I am fucking furious. Anyway, I'm on my work laptop. There are 1.5 Katie's, someone says. Allison sent me a picture that's half the top of your face and half the bottom split up onto two screens. It's art. I'll say that immediately. It's art. Also, now I'm not even on a headphone microphone, so you can hear anything that happens on my laptop. I'm so sorry.
Freaky. Hey, it's all you just that's where the improv comes in. You
That's where
just
the improv comes in.
roll with these punches. No, while you were gone, I was boring everyone to tears talking about the band. So we're glad to have you back, Katie.
Did you see that? There was a viral tweet from one of the guys in the band this week.
Yes. Oh, you saw that? Oh, God, it's great. It was a great. It was someone who was a producer on Family Guy, a writer on Family Guy, was kind of shitting on the band. And then Robbie Robertson, the main creative force behind the band, fired back, and it was so choice. His comeback was, maybe I should have gone to write for the Cleveland show instead.
I do not know or care about the band, and it still made me laugh a lot. So I'm glad
I
we
know.
brought
Yeah,
that up.
exactly. Yeah, because
at
the
the
funny part of the
intersection.
joke is making fun of a Family Guy writer, which is really funny. I think we can all enjoy that.
Toasty.
Yeah. But
Well,
that was great.
Should I finish the thought I was saying when my computer literally went from fully on Zoom to off? That was what happened. That was the
Yes,
progression.
we all wanted to hear that. I wanted to hear, you were talking about advertising and also your mental health check-in, kind of, right?
It was okay. So when I lived in Austin, I had like a lot of muscle pain and like trouble sleeping and like anxiety. And I have not had that this year at all. And I genuinely think, like, even though the world has been stressful, I get stressed when people rely on me. And in Austin, for some reason, I chose to have like everyone rely on me at all times. It was like my MO. But then I didn't for a long time. And then now I'm having one of my friends freelance for my company, which feels good because I'm making her a lot of money, but also now I kind of have to manage her. And my partner, who has more experience than me, was out. So I was like playing creative director at a job I've had for 3 months in a sector I've been a full-time employee in for 3 months.
Oh,
So it's in a way, it's like it's so bizarre because it is what I choose to do to feel complete. Like when I was in
yeah.
Austin, I always wanted to be producing the show, directing the show, etc. But I am like now like, oh, this is what makes my body do that.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you find your work fulfilling. Is that
I do find it fulfilling and also stressful. Yeah, I
yeah.
think that's the realization because I thought I was just cured of anxiety because nothing I've felt has made me feel anxiety. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yes, so yeah, it's like you kind of by the by moving to a new place, it kind of helped you kind of decompress maybe and
Yeah.
almost it kind of created healthy boundaries for you kind of.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't quite so beholden to other people. You weren't quite so burdened uh having to do so many things for different people, and then the advertising job comes along, and then you find this work fulfilling, and it scratches all sorts of itches maybe,
Yeah.
checks a lot of boxes maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. That's beautiful. It's just like Roger Sterling once said on the documentary about advertising. And he said, I actually do think about this a lot. He said something like, if you do this job right, it takes care of all your needs.
Mm.
And he was not a model healthy person at all, but I do think there are certain callings in life where if you can do it right, they really do, it's fulfilling. It can
But
fulfill a lot of needs.
and I think it really is like I'm lucky to have found something because I'm too much of a pussy to go for full-time comedy. That's not something I'm ever going to do. Not to say that, I mean, I think I'm too much of a pragmatist. I think I was raised by wasps and like not even just like the privileged wasps, like middle class wasps.
Yeah.
So I'm too afraid. But advertising is something that allows me to scratch a lot of the same itches as comedy in terms of like I'm brainstorming all day, every day, and I'm working with other people to generate ideas, which is super important to me.
Nice. That's great. That's great. No, I mean, yeah, I feel very lucky and privileged to in my work. If I'm doing it right and I have a good day, and I have way more good days than bad. It's not to say, the vast majority of the time I come away feeling like, yeah, fulfilled. Like, uh, you're getting to do things you enjoy, and it's putting a lot of your talents to use, and it feels it gives you purpose. I think I feel very fortunate, very lucky to have something like that. Well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Even though I have to, what is it? Foam roll every night now. What were my two thoughts? Oh, one, I wanted to recap that we forgot to finish reading off dumb purchases people made. I might have
Yes.
forgotten some because my chat closed. Jen says she's been buying a lot of house plants. Jen has a
Oh,
really great house Instagram. I feel maybe we should have her come on and talk about whether that
yeah.
relieves stress. Let's see. I want to find Jen. If you see this before I get to it, please tell us. Um,
Yeah, how would I find her Instagram? I want to follow this now.
she's totally gonna see it before we do. Before she, but that's okay. I don't remember. I can't find it now. I feel like an idiot. I'm killing time.
No
Someone just
worries.
said this
Well,
new
while you're
season.
finding that, I can tell you about an adjacent idea that I just heard about today. Are you familiar with something from not the Netherlands, Denmark, something, a concept that comes from Denmark called hygge.
Tell me more.
Okay, so I just heard about this today, but it comes from this idea that people in Denmark, which I believe are called Danes.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Um, uh, they have some of the highest rates of just happiness and like quality of life. They're like known to be one of the happiest countries, the happiest society, even though they're cold and in the dark most of the time. And people have kind of wondered why these people can be so friggin' happy. And apparently, there is this concept there called hygge, and there have been some books very recent about this. And hygge is spelled like nothing I've ever seen before. It is spelled because I kept Googling it and couldn't find anything for hygge. And that is until I realized that it's spelled Hygge. And Hygge. And apparently hygge is just a fancy word for cozy. And it's all about just getting motherfucking cozy 24/7 cozy. And it's about the science of coziness and like lighting and comfort and making things comfortable and cozy for you. And that apparently is a recipe to thrive and be happy. So I ordered a book today.
That's interesting to me for this reason. I don't know where to start. When so the most depressed I've ever been, I lived in Germany for 10 months in 2009, 2010. I had very severe seasonal depression, and I would leave every light in my apartment on because I didn't want to feel like it was nighttime. And now I guess if you buy like a real sunlight lamp, that's different. But now that I live in LA, and this sounds crazy, but the sunset, because of where we are in the time zone, the sunset here is earlier than anywhere I've ever lived. The sun sets at 4:30 p.m. And then I've learned like, oh, okay, like I won't turn the overhead light on at all. I'll create like an ambiance around me that makes me feel nice.
Yes.
Rather than like blowing myself out with like 6 lamps and an overhead light.
Right.
I'd been wondering if there was a mental reason for that, but I can't know everything.
Exactly. So I am going to learn about hygge, but I think that could be a very interesting idea because, well, there is a thing, it's very common among therapists. I never knew this. One of the most important lessons I learned in grad school is never use your overhead lights in your therapy room. You just turn those out. You just never use. So those, like, a lot of offices just come with bright, harsh fluorescent lights because they think therapy is like a doctor's office, which it is, of course, not. And so you got to get lamps in there. So you never flip your light switch on. You just have lamps, and it's that coziness factor. And it's it kind of reminds me of like with comedy and oh no, we lost Katie again. How did this happen? Okay, I'm gonna vamp again, and this time I'm actually talking about something that is somewhat on a relevant topic. Imagine that. So I will vamp for a sec, but it reminds me of kind of the art of creating a theater space, which from what I understand is kind of an art unto itself. Courtney Jones told me some very interesting things about this, which I just find fascinating. This is we should have Courtney Jones on sometime to talk about this. But it's about how like there is an art and a science. I think that was the most fascinating thing to me. There is a science behind like the lighting in a theater space. And there we go, Katie.
I'm going to have a meltdown. I am going to have
fucking meltdown. Today's
What
out
happened?
to get me. The same thing happened on my work computer.
What?
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's sitting on my other computer. I never moved my other computer. I'm gonna move it in case they don't like each other. No fucking clue. Sorry, there's a bed
That's
right there.
great.
I didn't just
Throw it away.
my laptop. I this has happened to me 3 times in one day, all at the worst. I'm sorry, nobody. I don't even know what to do about editing this podcast. If you're listening at home, just know that we save a lot of time by not editing this thing.
We're pulling the curtain back. All the greats do this. You
I
just
think-
leave it in there.
Yeah, and this is coming out like 36 hours after we record it because we had Thanksgiving, so now we're caught up. think. I could be
yes,
wrong.
yes.
I could be wrong.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I was just saying, I was talking a little bit about Courtney Jones and how she takes, she knows a lot about kind of the science of creating a theater space and like the lighting and the
Mhm.
music levels. Like there's kind of a science to the idea that, like, for instance, at the lobby of ColdTowne Theater, RIP, it was very important that when you walked in, there was dim lighting in the lobby and the music was up loud. And it's the idea you're decreasing people's inhibitions. You're getting people into like a fun zone
I like
where
it.
they can cast aside their self-consciousness. They're actually, you would maybe be interested in this. There's an old story about one of them old timer comedians going on one of the early like one of the early TV shows of the era, like, you know, one of those like the Jack Parr show or the like Ed Sullivan or
You got
something.
to
And this
summarize the plot of the Joker.
yeah. Yeah. The best movie of all time. No, but they were saying this comedian goes, they have all different kinds of acts on this TV show, but the stand-up comedians always bomb. I'm scared to go on. I'm terrified. And they figured out the day of the show that the reason why was that they always leave all the lights up when the comedian goes out. All of the light, all of the audience, the lights in the audience up. And so the comedian goes to like the tech booth and the producer, would you do me a favor when I go out? I just want the lights on the stage and my spotlight on.
Yeah.
And I think they made up a phony story. Like I have like, I don't know, light sensitivity or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, so they bring down and they destroyed. And
That's
it's the
so
idea that
funny.
when the audience is lit up, they're too self-conscious. They don't like let go and just open themselves up to humor and laughter.
I definitely see that. And that also explains why we don't do shows at 2 p.m. If somebody asked me to do a 2 p.m. show and it wasn't at South by when people are already fucking wasted at 2 p.m., I would say, yes, please, I need stage time. But what I would feel inside would be no.
Yeah, you're right. A daytime how are you on matinees? You ever check out a matinee in your day?
Matinee, well, because you go into a dark place.
That's true. Isn't that
sounds so
fun?
depressing.
That's one of the things I miss about life is
Cinema.
going to theaters. Wasn't that fun? Remember that?
Well, and that is especially depressing given it may never come back. That's like one of the industries most likely to die. And that's a bummer because it's been one of the most depression proof industries since the 20s or something.
Yeah.
Something
That's
crazy.
what I've heard. Yeah. That yeah, certain parts of show business. That was actually a line in The Sopranos once. They go, what are the two examples of what are the only two recession-proof businesses in America? And they said certain parts of show business. So like I think they were referring to movie theaters, and then what?
Sex work.
Well, then the next thing they said was just the mob, just organized crime in general. So that's I'm sure part of it.
Probably
I mean, drugs, all the vices.
Yeah. 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 It's like, remember when everything, like, I don't know if it was the same in Austin, actually. I don't know if you've had the same level of lockdown we had, but everything was required to close except grocery stores. and liquor stores. Because they were like, if you take away, we don't know. I mean, I think a part of it is like you do, like they were worried about like a huge percentage of the population getting delirium tremens. Like that's a public health risk, but you can't
Okay.
take that. I was like, what if they did that? There was a liquor store on the corner that I could walk to. I'm not gonna fucking drive.
Right, right. No, yeah, it's like thank God. Thank God for that. People will need
Booze.
yep, booze,
Also,
drugs, cigarettes,
if
porn.
we stay locked inside, if you're listening to this in the future, we just entered lockdown phase 2. LA, as of Monday, we're literally not allowed to have people over anymore. I mean, no one's checking. But
Jesus.
what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna end up watching The Sopranos. I've been listening to a book on tape about
It's so
the like television criticism, and they were talking about so there are 2 shows that they like focus on as like the reasons television criticism took off. Number 1, did you know, my brother told me this because he is a nerd on multiple levels, Buffy the Vampire Slayer has the most academic papers written about it of any television program.
I believe that. Okay, yeah.
And then The Sopranos came out, I think near the end of the Buffy cycle. They're both like, it was like early 2000s.
Yeah, there's I think a little bit of overlap there. Yeah.
But it's regarded as the herald of the golden age of television. So those are like the 2 that it was like, oh, if you're getting into television criticism, you should watch them. And obviously, I've seen Buffy multiple times, so I guess I should watch Sopranos.
I
Also,
need
our good friend Angelina Martin, who is a bisexual socialist, really likes The Sopranos, and that's changed my opinion about whether I would enjoy it.
Well, what's funny is that some Sopranos fans make you almost want to not like the Sopranos because there are a lot of kind of cigar chomping alpha males who I think came away with the wrong messages from the Sopranos, if that makes sense. But yeah, Chloe and I are completely obsessed with it. I've actually watched it 3 times all the way through at this point, and every time I love it more, and it gets funnier. It is one of the most in a certain sense, one of the most underrated comedies of all time. It is such a darkly funny show if you can kind of get into that
Feel you.
zone when you're
Lane,
watching it.
I read a really convincing think piece about how Beyonce is the best rapper of our time. So I'm willing to take your advice that because I was convinced. I was like, I agree with you. Beyonce is the best rapper of our time. And I'm willing to believe that The Sopranos, what I just heard was you say The Sopranos is the best comedy of our time.
Yeah,
JK.
pretty much. But no, people of so many different kinds of people, I think you go into The Sopranos maybe expecting it to be one thing, and I think if you can, I think the first couple episodes honestly are a little shaky because they were still trying to figure out the tone, but once you get into about the 3rd or 4th episode, it is so incredible. And from a mental health point of view, I have never seen a show that depicts human relationships better. I mean, the way I always put it is it gets so right the many subtle and complex ways that people hurt each other.
Yeah. I do remember that we talked about The Sopranos on our therapy episode. And or like, sorry for those, they're all therapy episodes. Our episodes specifically about therapy in popular television and film, which was over a year ago, sometime
Right.
last
I
year.
think I think we're coming up on 2 years ago, I think, right?
Lane, at this point, my list of things I need to send to your home. No, I'm gonna send Chloe's birthday present, a housewarming present, and Avi, our anniversary.
Oh, our anniversary. Yes. That's
JK.
right.
We don't
JK,
need to
yeah.
exchange gifts. Christmas is coming too. Christmas is in 3 weeks, and I
I
expect you to spend hundreds.
You're gonna get the cutest band Christmas ornament.
Do it.
You're gonna love it. No.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Someone also mentioned that they had been spending money in quarantine on swords. I just want to put that out there in case anyone is curious
Yeah.
of the extremes that are happening. But
Yeah.
when Jen said she'd gotten a lot of house plants, I have been doing so much house stuff. I've been trying to get good at growing house plants. I killed a few, and now I've been keeping the same set alive for a month. So
Good for
my
you.
succulents have been alive for 3 months, but I
Bravo.
did spend $150 on Rite Aid and Target Christmas decorations.
Dude, I think that is money well spent. You'd be surprised, that comes up in therapy quite a bit with people. I'm always very supportive of, if you want to spend some money on Christmas decorations, get into the spirit. It's something. It is
Yeah.
something it's the coziness factor.
For sure. Well, and especially like I'm almost positive we won't be able to travel for Christmas. So this is like going to be our house. So we bought stockings because we're pretty like we've never had to buy stockings before because we opened those at home. So we bought stockings for $3.99 at Rite Aid. I'm just dropping prices. This
Good.
is an episode in which you could make a map of my budget when you leave. And you're like, this is humiliating for her. Oh my God.
This is great. No, I love I always say the first year, when Chloe and I, when we first were kind of moving in together, or no, we had just moved in together after getting married, which kind of kicks things up a notch. And it was our first Christmas as a married couple. And we were so broke. We're both in grad school. Can't emphasize enough how broke we were. Chloe says, I want to put up a Christmas tree. And I was like, oh, that's money we don't have. That's fiscally irresponsible. And she was like, trust me, I'm going to go to the dollar store. It's important that we do. I just want to, do something Christmassy in the house. She did it. And just coming home from grad school and seeing what she had put up, I was like, this time next year she put up one of those little tiny trees.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, whatever it takes, this time next year we will have
full-size tree,
more of this. Yeah, I want this, but more. And every year, I look forward to her putting up that wonderful artificial tree, which we have in a box somewhere around this place.
I bought us this is weird, at Trader Joe's. They were selling live trees in pots for $19.99, which is not $20. Don't get it confused.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But I bought one and it does look pathetic. And then we found full-sized fake trees at Rite Aid for $30. And we don't have space for that at all. But there was a part of me that was like, do we do it?
Yeah.
Do we do it?
Dude, now is the time. But no, yeah, I think, hey, will it make you be a more effective advertiser? Maybe. So
To have a full-size Christmas tree?
Yep.
Probably. No, we're pretty decked out. I would take you on a tour if Sanjay wasn't on a call in the other room.
Gotcha.
Because I love it. That was a nice thing about Thanksgiving. No one had seen our house before. We had never. I'm sure it's the same for. I mean,
yes.
you guys won't have anybody see your. But we moved in on June 1st, so.
Right.
I made Matt Needles sit on my couch. Oh no, I've revealed the names of the people who I might have given COVID. And he said, "This is surprisingly comfortable for how attractive it is." And I said, "That's all I've ever wanted to hear because I feel that way." He said, "It's as smooth as a dog's ear." And I said, "That is what it feels like."
Wow. I don't even know if the microphone picked up how you were.
That's what it feels like.
I love that. And I think that I'm gonna say the next time Chloe and I, I'm gonna
Obsessed.
say this is for how attractive it is. You're way more comfortable. I don't know. I'll figure out the wording.
It's surprisingly comfortable for how attractive it is, but
There
about
it is.
that thing.
Yeah,
That thing, that thing, that thing.
Katie Stone is the best rapper of our time.
I know. Me and Beyonce were killing it. Lane, I've made you vamp time and again. I am gonna take 30 seconds to grab
No,
another beer because
no.
that's where I'm at.
Go for it. No, let's see. How is everyone in the chat doing? Oh, the dollar store. Jen, thank you for liking the dollar store. Yes. Oh, look, Tina, yes. Tina's down with the Christmas decorations. It's worth it, even if no one but me will see it. That and my mailman. Yes. Yeah. I think if it brightens up your surroundings, that's what counts. You know?
When Tina was on the podcast live, she told us about how her neighbors had left flowers on her doorstep and it had really brightened her mood. And every day, I think I should do that for one of my neighbors. And for some reason, it gives me so much anxiety. I don't know why. People like it. Being kind is good. Also, okay, am I a full on bigot?
I like where this is going.
Help me decide. I think we have exclusively gay neighbors, which is not the problem. I actually am probably problematically a fan of that fact. But the guys on this side, I swear to God, it's two guys. I really thought they were a couple, but they watch Star Wars every day.
What?
I can hear the music. I heard the music the morning that they announced Biden had won. I was like, loud music, they're probably celebrating. And then it was like, dun, 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 dun. And then I was out, like, every time I walk by their house, I hear Star Wars. And I'm like, I guess I am problematic because I don't think of a married gay couple
Yeah.
just sitting at home watching Star Wars over and over again. But guess what? They can. And if
That is
you're a
wh-
bigot like me, you need to reprogram your brain. Or
Yeah.
they're just two friends living together even though they're 40.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could
You
take that.
said it sounds like these guys rule.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
We could,
probably cool.
we could take that stance. This is probably, here's the stance we could take. We're so woke. We believe that even that gay people can be just as obnoxious as a straight suburban white couple.
It's true. I heard have we talked about this before? I listened to an NPR episode once that was like, if you insist that you like a whole group, you are still racist. You're only really not racist when you can hate them for other reasons.
There you Yeah.
That requires a lot of checking in with yourself, but you're like,
Yeah.
this has nothing to do with it, right?
Yeah.
No, they were just really mean to me once.
Yeah, they were just shitty people. It's nothing against an entire group of people. Just those people were shitty, or or that person was shitty. No, so no, that's it. But I keep wanting to make sense of this Star Wars thing. So because I've never seen The Mandalorian and I know everyone is watching it, could it be a part of the soundtrack to The Mandalorian?
Oh, I don't know. Somebody let us know how often they play that song during The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and it's
I mean,
always
there are
that.
also over 9 movies, right? There's 10. I think there's 10 movies plus
At
the
least.
Christmas special
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the Ewok. Isn't there an Ewok film? So that's up to 12.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you're right. How did you know that? That's a deep cut.
Oh shit. Have I been? I'm sorry. I think I've been quoting everything that Chris McKeever has said in our chat as Drew Wesley because they have they both have the anyway, this is not important. I always forget that people are listening to this at home on a podcast and I'm a nightmare. Where was I going with this? Somebody was commenting. I was going to read it out loud. They said,
Are you about to read it? I don't. Yeah.
We just got multiple responses at once. It was like, no, the Mandalorian music isn't like that.
No.
Um,
Okay.
I bet they're playing a game. Oh, okay. They could be gamers.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
it.
that's what it is. They're playing a Star Wars game.
Yes. My Star Wars obsessed brother played the same video game over and over again, to which the theme was the Cantina song. If you know. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun,
Yeah. That's a
dun, dun.
banger.
I can sing the whole thing.
That is a banger of an iconic song, though. Like, I think someday, if we get far enough into the future, someday people will just be like, "Oh, you know that jazz song, yeah, dun, 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 like, you know that famous Louis Armstrong, yeah, dun, dun, dun." I love John Coltrane, yeah, dun, 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 dun. No, that's it. Yo, so that's Chris. No, Chris had a funny. Uh, Chris loves your neighbors, is what I was trying to say. Yeah. And yeah. Oh yeah, for anyone, yeah, Chris is referring to, for anyone who's a real Star Wars nerd, that style of music in the Star Wars canon is referred to as jizz. And that is a fact. That is not a joke. It's a take on jazz. And in the Star Wars canon, I don't know what, maybe one of the novels or the script or something, that George Lucas called that cantina music part of a larger style of fictional music in the Star Wars universe as jizz.
Oh, can I? Okay, brief story. Because this has come up in my brain over and over again. Yes, Daddy. Open that. What is it? Whiskey?
Whiskey, yes.
Lane's having a time. The shit. What was I just? Oh. We were talking about words that exist in other cultures that don't exist in our own. And at work, we've been working. We've been talking more about a teen film with Korean influences, and Sanjay is yelling in the other room, man. They talk a lot about this Korean concept of, I don't know how to pronounce Jung. Okay, so it's spelled Jeong in Korean, translated to English, but for some reason all of the US fans spell it Jung. Oh, okay. But the concept is lovely. It's basically like the connection you forge with someone that cannot be undone even if it changes. So like if we have Jung, it's like, I love you so much that even if you do something horrible to me, I will still deeply care about you. It just might be that I don't like, I dislike you. Or you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I think I have a lot of like ex-best friends, which is already saying that I have a mood disorder, but like that I feel that way about, where it's like, oh, I really have been focused on your negatives, but I care a lot about them because I care a lot about you. One time, a friend of ours who I had a feud with, I told her I wouldn't care so much if I didn't care so much. And I think that makes perfect sense. Anyway, but everybody kept spelling it Jung in all of our work communications. I was like, why is everyone talking about Carl Jung?
Carl Jung, yeah.
Why everyone got so educated all the time? Why were they talking about this in this teen movie? How did I miss that?
Yeah.
What?
Crazy. Okay. Yeah. Jung. Okay. So we want to deeply care about someone, and that's called Jiang, but you pronounce it Jung.
I don't really know. I missed the part in the movie where they said it. But I do think it's similar. I kept thinking about this is stupid. Is that if you're a Kurt Vonnegut fan, he uses the term "karass" as the people in your life who you can't shake. Like, you keep running into them even if you don't like them, they're somehow a part of your fate.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
I like
think
Kurt. I've only read Cat's Cradle, but Mason Pitluck, big Kurt Vonnegut fan. Anyway, back to what you were saying. Mason Pitlock, the person who is the ratio of how many times we mention him to number of
important.
times he's listened to our podcast, which is 0.
Outrageous.
It's his is the highest ratio. Yeah.
I am so deeply curious. Hey, if you are a fan of this, we get 200 listens to each episode. And I know some of those people aren't actually in our immediate circle of friends.
Yes.
We'd love to hear from you and how annoying this is. And if you
Yeah.
have photos of the characters who appear, because it's like you listen to like, this is a dead podcast basically, but like you made it weird. And they're always like John Mulaney. And you're like, I know that because I know Chelsea
Yeah.
Peretti. It's like, I know who that is. Our
Right.
podcast is like these bearded men
Okay.
have
but
this to say.
for sure, these bearded men, the bearded men of Austin is who that's our those are the only people we know. Those are the only mutual friends that Katie and I can reference. And yeah, no, well, I think of it like this. Sometimes I'm listening to a podcast and they will reference. I am such a fan of sort of inside baseball. Even when I don't get the inside baseball, I still think it's funny. And I'll give you an example. Is that Chris?
It's not really,
No.
but it's inspired by Chris, and he said someone draw me. So I just figured I drew this last night, and I kind of imagined his face, but I'm not good at just imagining someone and drawing them.
Nice. For some, this
This is great for an audio medium.
Yes. Yeah, Katie held up an iPad drawing that you did of our friend
While
Chris.
I was watching The Crown. I was
Yeah.
watching The Crown, I was just doodling, and I doodled a Chris. I've drawn him in the past. He looked like a villain of this podcast, Chris True. So I did.
Oh,
I threw that away. Everyone's turned to this podcast off unless they're exclusively our good friend.
Yeah. But I was gonna say, okay, are you a fan of the movie Zodiac?
Haven't seen it. Would love to. Just haven't watched it.
Okay. Dude, it's great. But there's a Jake Gyllenhaal line, and Chloe Sevigny, that doesn't spoil anything, but where Jake Gyllenhaal's character gets mentioned in the San Francisco Chronicle, and Chloe Sevigny says, this puts our lives in danger. Aren't you scared? Because what's the one thing we know about the Zodiac killer? Are you listening?
I'm listening.
What's the one thing we know about the Zodiac killer? He reads the Chronicle. And Jake Gyllenhaal's retort is, yeah, but not Herb Cain. I don't know who Herb Cain is, but I find that line consistently hilarious because clearly every city in America has a Herb Cain. And it was like just the context clues is, oh, he's their op-ed guy, or he's their editor. He's just the guy that writes the editorial, the commentary in the local paper. He's just like the local newspaper personality. So the movie doesn't tell you who Herb Cain is, but I love a good inside baseball reference. So anyway, Chris McKeever is our Herb Cain. Mason Pitlock is our Zodiac killer. Is that, maybe those are analogous, yes?
We're making art for the masses.
Yeah. Yes. I love this. I think people have no idea what I'm saying. Chris tried to get an OnlyFans account, and you have to take a picture holding your id. So I did that, and they rejected me. What does that mean?
An id? Your ID, probably.
Oh, your ID. I am a therapist who doesn't know common sense.
Oh boy. No, I was about. Lane. Do you have you ever had a thought that you were about to say on this podcast and then decided it was too deeply personal?
Yes. Yes, I
I
have.
feel like that happens to you more often. It happens to me once in. I wouldn't even say a blue moon. Once every 2 blue moons.
Yeah. Oh, but you
Or
see, it
I mean,
happened to
once
me.
every 6 blue moons. Am I right? That's a beard joke.
That's a good Katie. Yes, you're coming over to. This is the dad joke, Tarot. Yes, come, Katie, to the dad joke side of comedy. I liked that. That was good. Blue moon. Yes. Okay. No. What were you trying to say about? You think I stifle myself?
No, I don't think you stifle yourself. I just think you have a healthy brain to mouth connection.
Oh.
And did I ever say, I'm sure I've said this on the podcast. One time, one of my ex boyfriends was like, no, it's just like, oh, that thought, like, like I just held it in my head too long before I said it out loud. And we basically had a communication where we both learned that I do not hold a thought in my head before I say it out loud. It
Mm.
happens in real time, 100. If I catch
Oh.
an overshare before it comes out, that is a miracle.
Oh, I see. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. It's making sense to me. Not that, yeah.
Does that does it make sense? You're
That
like,
you
that explains everything
no
about
no
you.
no no. It's yeah, it wasn't that. No, that came out wrong. See, that was
No, no,
bad
no.
thought
I
to
think
mouth
it's
ratio.
I do think it's very evident from knowing me at all.
No,
I could
that's
be wrong.
interesting.
The amount of times I have to apologize for phrasing a compliment wrong, even. I'll be like, I said that really creepy, or like I'll say something really honest, like, you might think you're ugly, but actually I think your nose is perfect. Or like something that is just like fully like me making an observation and then
Yeah.
me replying to it, but then it sounds like I'm somehow validating the
Yeah, yeah. No, that's interesting. Well, I would not have guessed that because you strike me as someone you are thoughtful and you do I think you exhibit a great deal of like I guess self-control, just agency
Really?
over your own being. I
Ew.
guess yeah, I don't think of you as a what do you call you're not a verbal diarrhea person. So how would you explain that? Maybe I'm wrong.
I feel you. One time in college, this was very untrue throughout my 20s, but someone told me, "You're not a very polarizing person." And I said, "What does that mean?" And she said, "No one has strong opinions."
What?
um anyway, that's not what you're
What a
saying.
weird thing to say to
It
someone.
was weird. Well, okay, but here's the thing. She was a bitch. And I don't mean that she wasn't being a bitch in that moment, but what she was saying is, I am extremely polarizing. She was a very good friend of mine. I liked her
Ah,
because she was a bitch. But as you can imagine, most did not.
yeah, that's
Um,
funny. The great line delivery on that. Hopefully the chat will back me up. The way you punched that. But here's the thing. She was a bitch. Like that just that was good.
you
Good
know what?
comedy.
Let's let's just make reveals about ourselves while we have
Ah,
no topic. See if
boom.
anybody relates. Write in if you relate to this.
Yes.
Oh fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Because dude, I
Oh,
took Adderall this morning and I focused all day, and before I got on this call I was like, Sanjay, I'm really worried about my focus. I feel like can you spend it in the morning? Can you spend all of your focus? Lane, you're a therapist. Tell me.
can you spend hey, well, Adderall wears off as the day goes on, so your focus does tend to get more scattered, right? I have heard that.
I said my friend was a bitch. And then I had a second thought. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh, I know what it is. For a long time, I did trend towards friends who were. I tried to write a joke about this. I said, none of my friends have autism. I know because their parents have had them tested so many times. Um, but basically, like, I had a lot of friends with no filter, and I think it had a lot to do with. Obviously, that's a very specific form of autism, and none of them had it. But they they would just like say things kind of cruelly a lot, but I don't trust people. So that was really important to me that I had someone be really honest with me.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I've valued kindness a lot more, and I've also valued people like contributing to my life in a more substantial way. And I this friend specifically, like, I looked back and I was like, she kind of used me a lot. Anyway, I just feel like I don't know if anybody else has had this experience, but like my whole 20s, I was just like maturing out of having friends who were mean to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
I think you start to get to know yourself better, and maybe you realize those weren't healthy friendships for me. Good for you.
Good for you. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, like realizing that maybe those were not healthy friendships, and those people were not treating you the way you deserve to be
Yeah.
treated.
Well, and I guess someone just Jen just said I used to have a lot of frenemies, and I think that is like a high school concept of like you have to still know the people you don't like, and I don't do that anymore. If I don't
Mm.
like you, I don't know you. You're dead to me. Except for when I see you all smile, because I've also learned that being an outright bitch in public is not helpful.
Ah, yes.
I don't know what I'm rambling about now. This is the most evident. Like, Katie's coming down from meth.
Have them
Take a shot before this call. If you've missed the thesis of this show, I
Yeah.
think that we were briefly considering having T-shirts made that said "Adderall is meth light," but
Yes. That's right. Adderall is meth.
oh my god,
It's fine. It's meth. Yeah.
oh yes, that was the quote. Wow,
Right. I
you
think
have a good
you had
memory.
the line. It's like Adderall. It's meth. It's fine, or something like or
It's good. It's fine. It's meth.
yeah.
Um, we have, Lane, I should make merch for this Christmas season for all the
Yes.
people who no child mother combo listens to this besides me and my mom. Um, I was just looking up. I knew that I had a favorite Lane quote from
What?
the podcast, but I couldn't remember what it was. And without context, I have no idea what it means. But apparently, at some point on this podcast, Lane says, "Hey, I'm Winston Churchill. Listen up, fuck sucks."
Yes. That that was definitely from one of our first few episodes. Yeah. Wonderful. I am so. Where did you have that written down?
I put it on our Instagram.
Oh, you did?
If you follow YBAYH podcast, we mostly post to the story because that's where the happening stuff is.
Mm.
But it is
No,
on the main feed.
that is beautiful. Hey, yeah, that sounds very familiar. Yeah, I love it. That is wonderful. I was thinking recently, how great it is to have a chosen family. Family stuff's still weird for me.
Yes.
I called my mother and father on Thanksgiving Day. Still weird between my father and I.
Yeah.
But surprisingly good between my mother and I.
Good.
And then I texted mom, dad, sister, all good. And so that was nice. But it was very nice to just stay in Austin and just hang out with good friends. I'm very thankful for good friends. And that's man, that is it's a good thing for that. It's a good thing for, to have good friends in this world. You being one of them, Katie.
Thank you. There is a level to which I'm like, if I was there, I would have gone to that Thanksgiving.
You totally would have
I would
been
have
here.
given everyone COVID. I would have
Yeah.
given everyone I know. I would
Yeah,
have given
dog.
everyone I know COVID by now. But yeah, no, I think that's kind of also in the family for me of like, the more I find people who gel with me, the more I feel like chosen. I love a Friendsgiving. I'll go to my family Thanksgiving like every 3 years or so because it's important to my mom, and I love my mom and I love spending time with her. But it's just like traveling for Thanksgiving is so expensive, and so many of my Thanksgivings have been with friends. And it's, I don't know, we don't have enough holidays where we celebrate. They are like our family sometimes. And we don't
Right.
have days besides our birthdays where we always get drunk and don't have plans.
Yes. The drunk and don't plan, the get drunk and don't have plans holidays.
Our birthdays are get drunk and don't plans giving.
Yeah. You had a great birthday. One of the last birthdays you were here.
When we went to that bar,
Yeah.
King
Yeah.
B.
Yes.
I've enjoyed, I feel like I just like when we get all of our friends together.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
There was, yeah.
Those are good times.
There was a birthday where I got exclusively good presents, and I was in a really good mood because of that. But I'm guessing that's the one you're thinking of,
Yeah.
because I want to see if it's not on my bed right now because I don't have space for it. But I got this. I had at one point photoshopped our friends Mason and Ashley, who we've mentioned 12 times, even though they don't listen to this podcast, onto each other's faces. And then they got it made into a pillow for me. And I'm thinking that's what you're talking about. I was such a good mood after I received this gift.
That was the best.
It's
God,
so
that was
unsettling.
great.
Looking at it right now, I think one of the creepiest things is they are different races. So their faces are just creepily split up, where Mason's top half is white and Ashley's bottom half is white, and the rest is racially ambiguous. um, but anyway,
oh my God.
but that's speaking of what we're talking about. It is nice when you
Yeah.
have a holiday, as we evidently created. I think that was my 30th birthday, so that makes sense.
Oh, yes.
But when you create a space for you to just share with your friends. It was Sanjay's first time not spending Thanksgiving with his family, which is a little bit extra special / weird for him because they don't eat Thanksgiving food. Because his family is Indian American, he's first gen, so they either have curry or they go to Maggiano's Little Italy. Last year we went to Maggiano's Little Italy, and Sanjay and I got meat, and the rest of it was vegetarian because his family doesn't eat meat. And then we had 2 bottles of wine, and his parents seemed really heartbroken that we had meat and wine, and we were just like,
Oh,
I hear you.
dang. Wait, so what do they what would be a typical Thanksgiving feast at their house?
He says his mom usually makes a pumpkin curry to honor like harvest season in the West. But she is, to be fair, she's a fucking incredible cook. She's so good. So it's not I think it gets boring when you eat your mom's cooking every year as a kid, but I was disappointed. She'll never listen to this. I don't know why I hesitated. She's such a good cook that when she was like, "You're coming to our house for Thanksgiving," I was like, "Yay!" And she's like, "And we're going to Maggiano's Little Italy."
Oh, wait, and so they go to so you and Sanjay went to Maggiano's, or
They
no,
took
you.
us. They took us because they thought I would want a Western Thanksgiving, and I think they've done it before too.
Wait, and wait, so what do they get at Maggiano's?
Like cheese or tomato pasta. They're big fans of Maggiano's too. We actually go to Maggiano's every time we visit them. I've been to every Maggiano's in Houston. A lot of Maggiano's in Houston.
Really? I've been to Maggiano's a couple times. It's like chain restaurant, but upscale Italian
Fancy
food.
macaroni grill.
Yeah, there you go. Fancy macaroni. Hell yeah. Yeah. That's
No,
fun.
no
I
shit.
well, I have heard, but no, I have heard that Italian Americans do an incredible Thanksgiving.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be one thing. I would love to go to an Italian Thanksgiving sometime because they make fresh pasta.
Dude,
I don't know why I don't trust that Maggiano's makes fresh pasta. I'm sure they do. They must.
hey, I was once invited to a Passover Seder, and
Mhm.
I was so disappointed that I can't remember what it was. I might have had a show. I had something that I absolutely couldn't get out of, and I was so bummed because I've always wanted to go. Hey, if any of our listeners are Jewish and you're into Passover Seders, when this whole COVID thing blows over, please invite me because I would love to experience that. Or hey, an Italian American Thanksgiving. Let's do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do. I
Dude,
would
I
love
used
that.
to, I didn't, from like the years probably 2008 to 2013, I only had Jewish friends. And I had a roommate who had been on Birthright, which is the trip where they send you to Israel. And if you're
Israel.
a Birthright alum, you can have you can have a Seder at your house every week and they'll reimburse you like $14 a person or something.
Whoa.
And so I mean, I don't think I've ever had a Passover or Seder because that's usually people are with their families. But it was a really beautiful tradition to like have. I think the only requirement is you have to have challah at every meal. But
Huh.
and then you theme it around that. Or we had a lot of like when we lived in New Orleans, there was a Jewish deli and it was so good. And we would have like a Jewish deli dinner. Anyway,
Dear
if you have
God,
another culture, any other culture, invite me to your dinners.
I want to be. This is a weird thing about me, but there is a weird, undeniable part of me that wishes I was Jewish. I
It's
just
because it means as a white person, it's the only way you get to have culture. That or Mormonism, baby. Pick
that
one.
is one. That is one way. I guess that's one way to look at it. I never thought of it quite like that. But I relate to it way more from my Mexican side than my white side, though. Yeah, so I don't know what to make of that, but that's interesting.
Will, our friend Will, another ghost of this podcast. That if you're a
Yes.
foreign listener, by foreign I mean just not our immediate friend, you don't know. He recommended a book to me. There's apparently like a really great educational, fun book about the history of like the Jewish influence on comedy. I have to wonder if that's part of it.
Ah, nice.
Mrs. Maisel,
Oh
etc.
yeah, I tried to get into that show. I couldn't get into
I
it.
don't like it. And I do believe that the reason I don't like it is the number of my family members who have asked me my opinion on it. And I'm like, I don't have to watch that. Just
Yeah.
because I have a pussy and I've told a joke before doesn't mean that I have to watch Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And
T-shirt
that's
number 3.
I told my family the exact same thing, and they gave me some real weird looks at Christmas. It was very strange that year. No, Chloe loved The Marvelous Mrs. Maisels. I couldn't get into it. It was way too it was too theatrical. I didn't find it funny, and I didn't even I'm like I did from a comedy nerd standpoint, I'm like, we're supposed to believe that this woman just gets drunk or high and walks onto a stage and is immediately a talented stand-up comedian. I like after the second episode, I'm like, I don't think I can watch this anymore.
It's crazy the number of shows that are like that because that's the plot of Crashing, also, starring Pete Holmes. There's no way that guy was funny the minute he was out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Me, I've always been funny. You ask me, comedy's in my bones. I was born perfect and I'll stay perfect.
You know who's funny? Louis C.K. Because
Lane's trying to get
Hold up.
canceled again. Lane, did I tell you I got canceled on TikTok this week? I'll tell this brief story.
What?
I nobody will remember. I don't think it will be lasting at all. Basically, okay, I will tell a brief true story, and then I'll tell it the way I told it on TikTok, and then I'll tell you what they said. Okay, so last year I moved into this new apartment, and when we got there, there was a bag of socks in our mail that had clearly been there for a long time, and
This is
looked like
already a funny story to me.
it looked like it was like somebody's sock of the month club from like months ago. And I
Okay.
know this part is illegal and unethical, but I opened it because I was like, somebody, if you have a sock of the month club thing, you're richer than me. And you forgot about it for months. So I opened it. And then it was clearly custom socks of someone's cat. And so I found her on Facebook. We were living in a really cheap Austin apartment. So it was a fellow UT Austin student. We had 8 mutual friends on Facebook. So I
Whoa.
messaged her. We messaged back and forth, trying to get it to her several times. She kept sending things to our house. And I was like, do you want us to send it back or do you want to just get it? We kept switching. She was like, I'll just get it from you. I brought things to campus several times. And we'd be like, we're going to meet on campus because we both go to UT. And it never worked out. So now I do own the socks. Maybe I'll bring them out for the podcast.
I love it.
But so I posted a story on, I was like wearing them and I posted a story on TikTok that was like a really brief version of it was like, oh, I got these in the mail one time and they're custom socks of someone else's cat. I love them, whatever. It was funny enough that it got a lot of likes, enough to put it on strangers' feeds. And then the number of comments I got that were like, this is cruel. Somebody really misses these socks. This is unethical. You're going to federal prison for tampering with mail. Like all this stuff. And was just like over and over again, like, you're going to prison. This is
Yeah.
unethical, blah, 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 over and over again. And then and then during this time though, I've been roller skating. I'm getting good at it. I was roller skating for an hour and like 20 minutes. So I posted it. I went roller skating. I came back to my phone and there were the same number of comments and likes, which is not a good feeling. And anyway, but I was like, what should I do? Should I delete it? No, I don't think I'm going to delete it because I didn't do anything wrong. And I tried to return them. And then somebody reported me for committing a federal crime and they removed my TikTok.
Oh, what?
At least I didn't have to make a decision. That was the second time my TikToks had been deleted in a week because I did post a video of me pretending to snort my mood stabilizers. And they said, you can't do
Yes.
that. And I said, yes, I can. And they said, we've reviewed your appeal and you cannot do that.
Shit. Do you follow Chris McKeever on TikTok?
I do. We follow each other. We exchange. Are you on TikTok?
I am not.
It's a
I just know he's
okay.
on there.
It's
I find his TikToks
basically-
funny, but I'm not on there.
Lane, if you get on there, I feel that our generation has a mistaken idea of TikTok. It's like TV, but better. And I don't know what else to say, but I do send TikToks a lot. I've texted you TikToks. You know this.
You
Like,
have?
You watch like hundreds in one sitting because they're so short and and like a lot of them are only 15 seconds and you're sitting there and there's so many that are like so creative. It's to be honest, it's like going to a variety show of every comedian in America on your phone.
Wow. Okay.
Does anyone in the chat who has TikTok tell me if you agree? The only thing about it is that means you can't really break into it. Like it's like, oh fuck, I'm not even a great comedian. We get to like I have to compete with every single person in the US, including a lot of unemployed 20-year-olds.
How are we ever going to compete with them? Crazy. Well, that's interesting. Okay, you've made the best case for TikTok
Ignore
that anyone has given me.
everything about it. Ignore everything about it but the For You page. Get on the For You page and just watch what it presents you. Like what you like. The algorithm is really good because China has been stealing our data for a really long time and they're putting it to good use.
It's time to cash in. So they know they might have really good shit picked out for me, and it's just waiting for me because they've
Yeah.
been tracking my data for years, and then
I think they only know your data from when you start using it. But I will say that video I posted of me snorting my mood stabilizers was removed immediately when I posted
huh,
it, which means the algorithm can recognize someone snorting cocaine
wow,
immediately.
those Chinese. I probably shouldn't finish that sentence.
We should wrap up. Well, let's not leave on that. What? Let's get one more thought in beyond Lane saying those Chinese.
Those Chinese. That's another T-shirt. That's gonna commemorate Lane being ushered away from the podcast forever. You know. But yes, yes, this was fun. I feel like there is something about these episodes that are fun and unique and kind of palate cleansery and just very, very fun for me. I don't know if the audience finds them as fun, but I love these.
Me too. Sorry, I was just replying to
Yeah.
someone in the chat who said if you use the algorithm correctly by the end of the day, you're looking at how to choke someone safely. And I said, that's not what it shows me. But that just goes to show you how easily it finds your preferences.
Yeah, I would love to see Chris doing like stand-up material right after COVID ends. Like, hey, you fellas know how when you're on TikTok all day and then you learn how to safely choke someone, and everyone's like, no, what? Oh, that's just a me thing. Anyway, love you, Chris. You are wonderful. And thank you for watching and listening to Yeah, But Are You Happy? The podcast about mental health and comedy and creativity. And I've been Lane Ingram, who's as I forgot to mention at the beginning, I am also a comedy person, even though you might not have known that based on how unfunny I was tonight.
You're great.
But what Wednesdays at 8 p.m. on the ColdTowne Twitch
Wednesdays
channel.
at 8 p.m. Listen to our new episodes Fridays at sometime. Fridays they'll like and subscribe so that they come straight onto your phone. Our incredible tech, Preston Pentecost, post them now. I used to
Yes,
post them and I was very bad at it, and it wouldn't come to your phone in any sort of timely fashion. Preston is good at it because he's smarter and more organized than me. We are also on Instagram and Facebook at YBAYH podcast. You can just search the name. It'll come up first. Nobody else named their podcast this. Weird.
Yes.
Hey Lane, I love you so much. And I
Thank you
think
so
you're
much.
wonderful. And I'm so excited about your new house.
I can't wait for you to come here with Sanjay, give us COVID, and we'll just sit out by the fire pit and sip, Chardonnay and slowly die of COVID. It'll be the best.
I already texted Chloe for your new address. So if any of our listeners want to show up at Lane's house unannounced, just let me know. I have his address.
Yes, that
Okay.
sounds great. And then just here, I meant to show this much earlier, but there is Lil Man.
Listeners,
Lil
follow
Man is on.
Lil Man Doggo on Instagram.
Yeah, but I love you too, Katie. You are amazing, and this has been fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Thank you,
Bye.
Preston. Bye.
Bye.